Hi everyone, it's Sheryl, Ness, author of Lovin' in Tuscan Kitchen. And today I want to read a little part of chapter 25, The Girl on the Train. This chapter features one of my dear friends, Stefania from Milano. One day, during the first year of living full-time in Italy, I decided I needed to get out and explore more on my own. I planned to take the train to Florence to spend the day. I told Vincenzo I would be fine navigating on my own. I wanted to be independent using public transportation as much as possible. So I took the local bus from San Gusme that arrived at the Siena train station. I purchased a round-trip ticket from the ticket counter and sat at the little coffee bar and had a cup of coffee prior to leaving. The Siena train station is really small, with only 4 main tracks, so I wasn't too worried that I would have a problem finding the track to catch the regional train to Florence. I glanced at the timetable listed on the board, and it said the train to Florence would arrive on track 1 in 20 minutes. As I glanced at track 1, I noticed there was already a train waiting. I wondered if the train could be that early. In my experience, trains in Italy are hardly ever early or even on time, so I was doubtful. As I was standing there contemplating if I should get on the train, I noticed another woman standing nearby who seemed to be doing the same thing. I sensed that she was approachable and maybe even friendly, so I asked her, "Is this the train to Florence?" She replied, "I think so, but it's early." I noticed a little smile of doubt, like I had thought, "Why so early?" she added. We laughed together, and then she quickly switched to speaking in English. She could tell that I was American from my accent, and she could see my relief as she started talking. I apologized for my terrible language skills, and she reassured me that it was okay. We both got on the train, and I asked her if she wanted some company on the way to Florence. I was normally pretty shy, but for some reason, I felt like I should connect with this woman. We started talking as the train departed Siena and made its way to Florence. The regional train was really slow, and it stopped at many of the little villages along the way. It was great to have company for the 90-minute train ride to the center of Florence. I learned really quickly that Stefania was a kindred spirit. She worked in the field of medical research for a pharmaceutical company in Milano. When I told her that my background was also science-based and that I was a nurse from Mayo Clinic, she was thrilled to hear about the work I had done, especially the research that I had done. I mentioned to her that her English was fantastic, and she said she speaks English every day for her job. She also had lived in Hawaii and Boston for a period of time. We talked nonstop during the trip to Florence. I shared that I had just moved to Italy a year prior and that it was for love. When I told her the story of meeting Vincenzo, falling in love, and deciding to move to Italy, her big brown eyes were wide and warm with surprise. The 90 minutes flew by, and as we arrived to Florence, we shared our phone numbers and email addresses. I already knew in my heart that Stefania would be an important person in my life from that day on. We often connected when she was back in Siena for day trips to the thermal springs or outings to Florence, Pienza, or Cortona. One of my most fond memories I have of Stefania during this time was a girlfriend adventure together about a year or so after we originally met. She and I connected in Siena. I jumped in her little car with my bag for the week trip to her beach house on the Mediterranean. As we traveled north, I could see the landscape changing with steep mountains in the near distance. Stefania had a family home in the beach village called Focette. The house was nestled in a residential area that is surrounded by towering umbrella pines with the beach just a 10-minute walk away. We had planned to go to the beach during the last week in August, when most Italians take the entire month of August off and flock to the beaches because of the heat in the summer. This was my first time experiencing this idea. Imagine an entire month of vacation. This idea would never work in the US. We found our favorite pizza place and had dinner late after we arrived. The whole feel of the place seemed to be back in time a bit. We arrived at the beach house and dusted off the covers of the furniture and opened up the shutters and patio doors to a terrace that was shaded by magnolia trees. She showed me the bedroom where I would be sleeping, and I could sense the layers of family history in the house. I could see her mother's robes, slippers, and sundresses still in the closet. I found vintage wool blankets and cotton bed coverlets from years past. I knew her mother had passed away a few years previous and that she and Stefania had been very close. I understood that these items still remaining in the house were important family treasures for her to keep. Stefania told me of fond memories spending her summers here when she grew up. For me, the beach house seemed frozen in time. I saw matchbooks from restaurants and old journals, family pictures, and memories everywhere. We cleaned out the kitchen and plugged in the refrigerator and got settled in for our 5 days together. Every day, we would plan out our adventures. The first day was beach day. I always remember the little bicycle that she had for me to ride. It must have been circa 1970 because it had a banana seat and a curved handlebar that I'd always wanted. There it was, waiting for me to live out my childhood dreams again. We loaded our bags with towels, sunscreen, and a picnic lunch for the day and headed out on our bicycles to the beach. The beaches were breathtaking in this area. The white sand and the clear blue water. In the near distance, we could see the white streaks and pockets of marble that looked like snow on the Alpine Alps that were where the Carrara marble is mined. We arrived at the beach and got settled into our reserved area with an umbrella and 2 lounge chairs. Italians knew how to enjoy the beach. The same area had changing rooms and a cafe where you could get a cold drink, snacks, and ice cream. We had a great view of the sea in front of us with the mountains behind us. Every time I looked around, I thought perhaps I was in a dream. We took a long walk, had a swim, ate our picnic, and spent the afternoon either napping or reading with intermittent dips in the sea. The Mediterranean water was clear and warm. Each day, Stefania and I had new adventures planned. We went to the beach nearly every evening to walk and watch the sunset. We laughed and talked like only girlfriends can do together. One day, we took a little trolley to the neighboring village, Forte di Marmi, or the Marble Fort, which is where the tourists find stunning villas and people who seem like royalty and the rich and famous, all but incognito. On the way, I could see everyday life unfolding in front of me. There were ladies out with their market baskets, kids riding their bikes, men getting their hair cut at the barber shop, and people in and out of the little coffee bars enjoying their morning coffee. Forte di Marmi has a large outdoor market every Sunday. This area is famous for cashmere and linens. We had a great time looking and making a few small purchases at the market. Another day, we took our car and drove to the marble mountains of Carrara. This was spectacular for me as I love geology and rocks in general, but to see where the famous Italian marble is mined was a special gift for me. We traveled all the way up to the mountain to a little village called Collinata, which is famous for 2 things, marble mining and Lardo di Collinata. This is the same area that was the source of marble for Michelangelo's David in Florence. The settlers of this village have long been involved in working in the marble quarries. Even from the beginning, it was a village where the slaves lived. The quarries were still busy with miners, but the old techniques had been replaced with modern ones. Stefania had a great conversation with an older woman as she was hanging out her laundry for the day. She recounted that she remembered when they transported the marble down the mountain using logs and ropes to roll or drag the large pieces to the bottom. Lardo di Collinata is a delicacy only found in this area. Lardo is bacon fat that is cured with rosemary, salt, and other spices for months in large vats of marble from the area. It's typically served sliced very thin over toasted bread from the area. The fat basically melts into the bread and is absolutely delicious. I purchased a couple of packages to take home to Vincenzo. He has a fantastic recipe that he serves in his restaurant with potatoes, lardo, rosemary, and a pecorino sauce. As each day passed by, I felt like I had a glimpse of Stefania's life growing up in the area. We talked about the little things and the really deep subjects. Stefania has a similar sense of curiosity about life in general, and I love this about her. The fact that she was sharing this place with me was a beautiful gift. In the end, I felt like we were sisters, telling a few of our stories from our past and revealing secrets and future dreams with each other. This is dedicated to you, Stefania. I miss you and hope to be with you in Italy for our next adventure soon. Love you. Ciao.